He's gonna. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack. It is Mars. I'm here with my boys PD and Cal. Say what's up, gents.
What up?
Ready to rock.
Yo, in the Snyderverse peeps are on fire. They want to cancel WB because of some of the changes that may happen in the Flashpoint movie. They're talking about the new corporate owners of Discovery, which is going to be taking over WB from AT&T. That they're going to hit the hard reset, baby, and doing the whole universe over again and getting rid of Henry Cavill, Batman, our favorite Batman, Ben Affleck. Is this real? Is this fake? Is it, what the heck's going on here? Should this cancel WB trend or not? So I'm here with the boys once again. You know, of course, good, even keel individuals who are really going to look into this type of issue and give you guys what we think should be happening. So hey, I'm going to start it off with PD. What is your take on this, PD? Do you think this is a legitimate thing? Should we be canceling him because the Snyderverse fans feel that they're taking away something that they built? By the way, a franchise that Snyder built that brought in billions of dollars, not millions, billions of dollars. Fans from all over the sea. You know, there's a huge Latin American contingent. Has spawned like several movies.
Wow.
Has spawned TV shows, animation. You know, can we even go back? So just
what you really feel
that before you answer carefully.
I feel like we just had a Regent question with like 5 parts in there. Like Lord, and then I need extra paperwork just to finish every answer, so you can see the work I did to come to what my conclusion was.
With the defeat is multiple choice, when it's like some of these, all of these, none of these.
Well, ultimately, that's I guess the hook of Flashpoint, which was we didn't know as fans that, I mean, we got the hint that we were going to do something like that, but who knew it was going to lead to what they did, and then for them to go back on it a little bit later. So, I mean, yeah, they can reboot everything. They can get, you know, the Dark Batman with Thomas Wayne that they've hinted at in these the teaser that they slapped together. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not a big deal for me. I mean, they're just going to do what they want to do. This reboot action is for your person, instead of, you don't have to wait for a couple years before you bring these characters back. So that's the only hook to doing a reboot. But we can see with both Marvel and now DC, these aren't reboots that are like done right after the movie. It's some sort of delayed for a bunch of movies that they're going to do. Who knows how many of these Flash movies while they're doing Aquaman and whatever else they're doing, and that won't even relate to this reboot. So at some point, yes, Batman. Well, no, they actually got the Batman movie coming out. So before this thing. So what can you do? What will it matter? It's all different. These sort of timeline things, especially for DC, I don't think they were that strong in the wasn't the best thing. You can look at 1986 and say, hey, it kind of worked for there, but there was a big delay, a big gap between when they actually started rebooting, and then they backtracked soon after rebooting. So, yep, they had some issues with the Snyderverse. They might have had some success with the Snyder Cut, but at the same time, they're doing whatever it is they're doing. It looks like they're going to replace everything and get rid of it. But there's some time before this where a lot of other stuff is still coming out. So who knows when the reboot would actually take place. So it takes a while when you get the announcement to when you actually get this, and at that point it'll be moot anyway. Like, none of the people that were in play will probably be in play by the time that they decide to do these movies, because there's so much stuff in the pipeline. So it's not that big a deal, but I can see people who want to like Man of Steel or something like that to come out to be upset, but not enough to realize they're going to do what they want to do. Like they were saying with the Amazing Spider-Man, no one's really jumping to that, but the idea, the lore of Marvel doing it was a big lore, but the numbers, it didn't really show too much in the numbers, because they wanted that billion mark at Homecoming, so they got it now. So it's like, oh, proofs that we did it, that it was totally right, but it takes time. Who knows what's going to happen? But this is happening, regretfully. I want a Flash movie. I don't want a
What do you
crossover,
think?
something or another.
What do you think? So probably that's what I need to understand. What do you think before we go on to Cal? Because I'm still not getting your whole.
What do I think about it?
Yeah, what do you think about it? Is it a
But
great
them
idea?
erasing everything? That's your question?
Yeah, that's my question, bro.
Um, I mean, that's what the. I didn't think it was a good idea when Jeff Johns did it in the comic book, because I didn't. We had seen 0 Hours and Crisis and all that stuff. So you're asking the wrong person about any sort of thing like this. I'm not bothered enough to say they shouldn't do it, but because you got some buzz with Michael Keaton showing up in this thing, so it's, there is some energy towards this. It could push this movie to be a big success, and we'll get this wacky North Star. I mean, this wacky Flash version of version of DC's Flash. So I'm not really for it, but I mean, what can you do? These guys are going their own way. They already went their own way with casting this dude as the Flash. So I have a hard time. And my Flash is like, he's an old school, even though he was young in the early comic books, a character with a buzz cut, possibly someone that looks like he would come straight out the army, but like a forensic scientist type of deal. Like he's more of a straight-laced, old school type of Silver Age character, right? And that's what all of that is lost. So to be arguing about the things being rebooted, let's get back to getting what the character was. So right before the Fantastic Four, where we gave all these guys these crazy personalities, this guy is just a straightforward who and this is totally not that. So I know I've trailed off, but get into my misgivings about the entire thing. But I can't jump on the bandwagon of saying it's wrong when I'm not seeing anything right away, and it looks like there is possibly 3 Flashes. Like these 2 guys look the same in the female version, but cat's at it, nutty. So I'm gonna have to pass it off to somebody.
Yeah, let's pass it off to I mean, who else do we have here to pass it off to? Can we think of it? I guess since we don't have anybody, I guess I'll take the helm on this then.
Don't play yourself.
Oh, Cal, didn't know.
Yo, yeah. You Cal, know what's up.
Bring it on, baby. The knives are out.
This is not the first franchise in history that will have to start over. Okay, with either be the new actor, new storyline, whatever it may be. This may be one of the first franchises in history I've ever known that really needs to do it, because too much was attached to one person and one person's particular vision, and it doesn't work with the other things that were going around. I mean, what Petey said about this stuff in the pipeline, you got the biggest problem I saw with this is that you had somebody new who came on over at Warner Brothers, and then they had all this stuff with people were being acquired and such. But the only film this guy's been able to get out in 3 years' time was Aquaman, and everything else is Snyder. Is still stuff that's attached to Snyder. They had to cancel. They canceled New Gods because they said, "Look, if we put this out, this is just going to lengthen the amount of time the Snyder's here, and we're trying to transition away from the stuff that he did. Did it make tons of money? Yes, but that, to be honest, is a consolation, because it wasn't just the money they were looking for. They wanted the same stuff that they had over at Marvel, with this larger cohesive universe that tied in. So people would be watching these films and believing that they needed to watch all of them, or else they would be missing something. That's what Marvel was really able to tap into, and not just with the films, but going into other stuff like the television series as well. So now you want to get away from that. And, the people who are steadfast, I mean, to be honest, these guys are not being realistic. You got guys who are still holding on and hoping that there's going to be a Man of Steel 2, when Man of Steel was 11 years ago. It's not happening. This had a fair run. It had a fair run, and they decided, no, we're not going to continue this any further. We're going to try to give you a consolation prize in, the Justice League, the Snyder Cut. And all that did was make these guys even more rabid. Like, no, we want more. We want more. Okay, we got to get away from this. We want something that's going to be closer to what Marvel's done, because that's going to be more sustainable for us long term. And then we got other stuff that we want to do, and I can't get anything out until I get away from this guy. So yeah, we're going to hard reboot. We're going to say goodbye to a whole bunch of this stuff, and we're going to move on from it. And that's that. That's that's just showbiz.
I mean, it's interesting you're saying that. Look, I was on the bandwagon up until they put the new show out, and I'm like, hey, they put it out. There was clearly enough of a fandom. Not the director's cut of Justice League, and I was like, hey, they put it out, and there was a lot of people who liked it. People were like, there's a group of people who hated it, but there's a lot of people who liked it. And I thought, hey, originally was against it. I said this movie was already done, but he had an interesting vision. Sure, the vision is for everybody, but the same hand, there is a slice of people who out there want to see it. It's just like you have other fandoms that have come back over time. The people don't see the show and they're like, oh, we really want this back, and they're bringing it back, and they're bringing back other shows now.
Is that slice of people who want to see it enough to
Well,
sustain it with against the people who could care less whether
Right.
it comes out or not?
Again,
I don't think so.
again, the movies have made over 3 billion, billions of dollars. So we're not talking about combined. And if you even start throwing
That wasn't based on the people. That's not based on that rabid fan. Let me not say rabid. That's not based on that eager fan base that you have right there that's going to turn out and wants to see more of it. The majority of the money that got made were people who were coming out and saying, let me give this a shot. Let me give this a shot. Okay, I'm done. I'm not giving this another chance.
Sorry for the pop-up ad.
that is true. But you know what? When you movies that you connected in your connected universe come in and they make over what $4 or $5 billion, you're talking about is still you're basically saying whether you're right about what you're saying. A lot of people didn't. There's a Marvel contingent, and probably Marvel has made $20 billion in the same period. What I'm saying is that there's still money on the table, and I, as any type of executive, would not want to alienate that. Yes, probably we can veer off, like Petey was saying, and move on to another point, and say, hey, we're moving away from this now, and this is something which I don't know why the Snyder fans don't know. They've been basically saying this for quite some time. The whole thing with the Flashpoint that is going to reboot many things, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's dead. It's dead. The one thing DC has been doing, which I've said from the beginning is wrong, they've had all these individual movies, and they haven't, ever since the quote unquote, the implosion of the Snyderverse, all these movies have been individual, and there hasn't been a lot of connective tissue.
It's dead.
You know what I'm trying to say? So you have stuff like Joker by itself. Now we have another Batman theoretically that's by itself. Now we have the Aquaman and Wonder Woman are by themselves. So everything is out there. No one's connected.
You had a Joker movie that was not only by itself, but it had nothing to do with Batman at all.
Yeah, to some meaning, that's what I'm saying. It's just by itself. And now, but I think that the whole Flashpoint is
that wasn't the Joker movie. Wasn't I can understand you do a Joker movie and it's by itself. That Joker movie had nothing to do with Batman. Nothing. There was no way to tie it. That Joker movie doesn't tie into any Batman movie ever made at all. And that's the problem that is the problem that they're dealing with. And that's what they're trying to get away from. And the whole idea of leaving money on the table is okay. You can do pretty much what they're doing. They got to do an Aerosmith. You had a whole bunch of people who were with you up to a certain point, but now you're at a transition where it's either you're going to go and try to maintain these people, okay, who are barely keeping you on life support at this point, or you're going to try to bring in the new people that you're going to try to bring in the new people that you need in order to go forward. And the answer is pretty obvious, I think.
Again, I'm going to come back and say it. I don't think it's a good idea, a good strategy to totally alienate a group, especially a group that's their whole goal will be to bomb everything you do. Marvel doesn't have that situation.
How are you alienating them by starting over? Unless you give them what they want and continue the Snyderverse until they're damn good and ready to be done with it, you can't make any movies. You're not supposed to be coming out here for Snyder's vision. You're supposed to be coming out here for these characters.
No, but I'm
You're
saying
supposed to be coming out to see Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, not how Snyder did them.
You are a business and you want to sell, right? And so, yeah, you're saying that you probably could do better bang for the buck doing something else. That's it. That's the only reason you're veering off. The reason they keep making Batman movies is because they're making money. You know what I'm trying to say? Over and over again, they've tried different incarnations of it. And right now they think they could make more money doing something else. None of the stuff that they're making now, so supposedly from what I can see, is connected. They're going to change things up, with the Flashpoint movie. And I think anybody with a brain would say, hey, let's try and make this a more connected universe, but go in a different direction. That's what I would say. We're moving away from the Spider-Verse. From the Snyderverse. That could be, hey, call it his own universe, its own multiverse or whatever and move it forward. But you don't necessarily have to slam the door and say, hey, we're never going to do anything in here. We're never going to play in that sandbox again. I think you keep your eyes, there's something, there could be stories, they could come back. I think it's a great idea to have Henry Cavill come back. I think it's a great idea to have, what's his name, to have Ben Affleck come back, Hell, they're bringing back Michael Keaton. Okay, so then don't say you're slamming the door completely on anybody. They're bringing back Michael Keaton. They'll probably bring back.
They're bringing back Michael Keaton after what, 3 decades? This isn't some glowing thing like, hey, we did 10
but they're
years.
still bringing him back.
Yes, after 3 decades.
But the point is, they're still bringing him back. So you're saying they need to wait 3 decades for?
So if it was 5 decades, if it was 5 decades and they brought him back, we're gonna laud it in the same. We're gonna laud it in the same thing. That guy was Batman. That guy was Batman over 30 years ago. Okay, the fact that you're bringing him back now, hey, great. It's not a really big standing on the whole thing. And the idea that we're closing the door by saying, look, this had its shot. I'll quote Man of Steel. The Snyderverse had its chance. It had its chance. It's done. We got to move on from this. They're like, well, no, moving on doesn't mean closing the door because the characters are still going to be there. But if the only reason why you're tuning in is because you want to see Superman played by a certain guy and you want to see him look a certain way, then yeah, it's probably time for you to transition to something else because it needs to go a certain way. You're supposed to be coming here for Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman or any of the other characters that are going to be presented here, and not I only want them in this particular way, because now that presents a stranglehold, okay, on the franchise, and you can't grow like that. So it's the idea that it's closing the door. No, there's a difference between closing the door and people who are adamant that I want this, and if I don't get what I want, then I'm going to hold a snit, and I'm going to try to make life difficult for you. And you cannot do business in fear of what people are going to tweet about you or the bad stuff that they're going to say. You got to put forward a quality product, and then those guys go back to the internet where they belong, on the fringes. You make something that has mass appeal, nobody's going to be listening to those guys. And unfortunately, the Snyder stuff did not have mass appeal.
Okay, you could say the same thing. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff there that we can unpack. Like one, they had Christopher when they did Superman, when they did the original Superman movie, in the 1978 movie of Superman, they kept on having the same actor, Christopher Reeves, play him in several other movies, right? Just like you said, people like that particular version of him and continue to like him doing it over and over again, even though the box office was progressively getting smaller. There was always a thought to what about rebooting? That's one. Number two, on your other emphasis is that Spider-Man just
no, wait. What was the point you were making with that? What was the point that you were making?
I'm trying to say that people love that. People love that.
No.
That character again and again.
What was the point? Superman and Christopher Reeve. Superman, Christopher Reeve. That's the first superhero that you have that makes a motion picture. Are you saying they should have put somebody in with a third movie? And you're talking about.
I'm saying that
you didn't have a diminishing.
You
didn't have a diminishing box office with Superman until Superman 4. So what's the point that you're making?
The point I'm making is that he is Superman, and people like seeing him again and again and again in Superman role. People like this new dude, Cavill, and they want to see him again in other roles as Superman. So there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just two different fandoms. Again,
Christopher Reeve was Superman from 1978 until 1986. Henry Cavill has been Superman from 2011 until right now, 2020. He's 2022. He's synonymous to Superman for 11 years, longer than Christopher Reeve has ever was. It's time to move on.
I think that, but I'm just trying.
It's time by your own example. It's time to move on.
But he hasn't gotten a second movie that he needed, just like Christopher Reeve was able to get several movies.
He's synonymous to Superman for over 11 years. It's time to move on. I'm using your own example.
No, but I'm saying
I just used the same example that you brought up. It's time to move on.
Christopher Reeve was able to get his solo projects on his own his own Superman movies.
You're moving the goalpost. You're moving the goalpost.
I'm moving the goalpost.
You're moving the goalpost now. You just gave an example of Christopher Reeve doing this movie for X amount of time. Well, you got this guy. He did the movie for X amount of time. It's time to move on.
I'm talking about the fact that he only got one movie that he could do his thing, and all they're talking about is having a second movie for him. I don't see a problem with that. Now moving on.
If you can't get it, you got a second movie. It was called Batman v Superman. That was your sequel.
That was more of a Batman movie. We know that.
That was your sequel. That
So
was
going
your
on,
sequel.
so continuing for the next thing I'm trying to say, Spider-Man No Way Home just brought back.
Okay,
Not
no, I'm
one,
not doing, we're not
three.
doing the
Three.
Spider-Man. No, we did all
I'm
that
saying,
stuff. We
no,
gotta stay on there before you get to the jump into the that is the proof of anything. It's
that's
not
the
the
proof of
proof.
Yeah, because
everything. What are you
Not the
talking
proof of
about?
no,
anything. It's
Proof
not
in
the
the
proof of
pudding, man.
anything.
The fandom
It's
is
not.
now
you,
saying Andrew Garfield needs to have a movie. They've been talking about that. People
All
are
right,
like,
wait a second. Before you
they,
before you go in there,
they always say
before you
that.
go, wait,
okay,
before you guys go into that, you guys have been back and forth for a pretty long time. Yes, they don't have an connected universe. Yes, the Snyder thing, the plan was to have a connected universe, right? But we can't, it is right now. It is what it is. They didn't get the thing they wanted out of the Snyderverse. They did the Snyder cut just as a COVID sort of thing, right? But like they're trying to deal with the successes they have now. They might do something connected with this Flash thing, or they might not. They might have some elements that are the same as what you were just about to talk about in this Flashpoint thing. But we have to look at it and say at this point now they've gone away from Darkseid. They said you can't do Darkseid anymore. They cut that off. Right? They gave Snyder his opportunity to do that, but the possibility of Darkseid being in Wonder Woman 2, the second movie, or 84, or even Ava DuVernay's doing Darkseid, all that's been cut out. No chance of it. So now we are in a bind where we don't get Darkseid for what? Another 10 years? The problem with Superman is that instead of doing his movie, they did actually did the Batman as Cal said as a sequel, but the plan was for maximum money. The only problem is that it did okay.
Didn't make the money.
It did okay, but then Marvel then said, "Hey, let's us do that. Let's us have our heroes fight each other, but we'll have a whole group of heroes fighting each other."
group. Civil War.
But I'm saying that's the thing. Yes, you can do that, but the thing is, after you do the Batman v Superman, and you don't give the people, the people coming to the thing, and it's not, it did do its money, and over time it hit its mark. But then we get to Justice League, and it doesn't hit the mark. Then they're like, all right, the whole thing is tainted. Everything is tainted. They said, well, no, it's not tainted. Ben Affleck. And the next thing they go to Suicide Squad, and they're like, it didn't kill like we were planning to kill either. So they're just like, you keep trying to do it, it's not working. You have Batman that was at that point was had the top sales. What's the name? The Dark Knight had the top sales. So you're saying what's going on here?
The idea of Batman being in the movie was that Batman was supposed to make that $1 billion movie. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what they said. They wanted Batman in the movie. They wanted to hedge their bet. They're like, we put Batman and Superman together for the first time, $1 billion movie. Didn't quite make those numbers. I mean, it's really tough because if they hadn't made money, the movies made money up until the Justice League theatrical release, and then that movie was supposedly tainted until they took it and added more stuff to it, and they were like, oh, now it's better. Like it makes sense because of all the stuff that you had to cut out to release it in the theater. I don't see how that necessarily made it better. And at some point, you just look, it's time to move on. You had your shot. It's time to. You had 11 years.
Before you go to that, the Snyder cut set up. The Snyder cut set up all this Flashpoint stuff.
Right.
That's true.
Exactly
that's true.
That's what I'm trying to say. They set up this Flashpoint stuff. They set up the Aquaman stuff. They set up the Wonder Woman stuff. They're setting up the Black Adam. That's coming out of
the Snyder cut. The Snyder cut set up the fact that Flash uses his power to reverse things, which is direct connection to this Flashpoint movie. And leading to them possibly not having Superman in there, but having the evil Superman, which you can do whatever they want. But this is where they'll see if they want to do it, but it's not going to be in the form of doing a separate movie. And there's not anyone, around there to say, hey, let's just do this now. Let's just do a Superman movie just because we should do it. There's nobody there to do that. Now it's just people.
Right now, no, and I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm thinking, like I said before, there's a strong fandom that wants this. And I wouldn't be surprised, depending on how things pan out in the next couple of years, that there may be still a fandom reaction saying, hey, let's bring this guy back. There were a lot of people.
That's just total. I mean,
I gotta say the numbers.
That's not a fair. That's not a fair argument. There's always a fandom for fringe stuff, regardless of whatever it is. I could easily find people who would say, hey, look, why don't you bring this dude back? He's 80 years old. Well, let's try it out anyway. We got CGI and so on and so forth. It's not whether or not these guys want it. Okay, what happened? You had Brandon Routh as Superman. They dunked on Brandon Routh as Superman from start to finish after that movie. That movie was terrible. All of a sudden, they do Crisis on Infinite Earths. They put him in a suit, and everybody loves him. And what are they saying? Oh, he should get his own show on HBO Max. He should get a Kingdom Come show. And I'm like, well, what happened to this guy? This guy was terrible. I thought you guys said, no, I never said that. All of a sudden, out of nowhere,
I say bring him back. Fans. Bring Brandon Routh back. Let's try another show.
That's not the point.
Let's give him another half. Let's give him another.
Brandon Routh.
Make them all.
Brandon Routh had
make an army of Superman. You know what I'm trying to say? You know,
Brandon Routh had his shot as Superman. And as much as people may have enjoyed seeing him in the suit in those instances, nobody would turn out for him in his own show because they were just happy with what they did. And they always say the same thing. He should get his own show. He should do this. She should get her own show. She should do this. And then when they make the show, they don't go to watch it. Okay? Like, how many times does Lucy have to pull the football from you? You know? So, again, you had your shot. You had your chance. Okay, you had 11 years. It's over.
I say we still have a chance here.
Okay.
All right. So hey,
well, there's elements in there. There's elements in the Flashpoint that connect to the Snyder cut, but at the same time, by the time they get all this stuff done and they have everything in the pipeline, what's going to be left to do? Who's going to be old enough to for Henry Cavill, like, for him to do it, he already went to Warner Brothers with a double pitch, right? They had Green Lantern and they had a Superman thing, both at the same time, and they said, so it's like you have the guy, you have a pitch there, they say no. What are they waiting for? They're doing whatever this is gonna be, and maybe they'll do a Batman and Joker, riding around in the Days of the Future Past in the desert.
Or probably a Black Adam and Superman movie.
No, they'll do Black Adam.
If that hits,
they'll definitely do Black Adam because again, they're playing Hollywood. They're like, okay, we got The Rock. Okay, we got The Rock in the movie. Let's do this. Let's see how much money it makes, so on and so forth. They'll learn the error of their ways because again, these guys don't understand the universe that they're playing with. And then eventually we'll get there. But these guys are gonna have to bang their head against the wall a little bit more and realize, well, why isn't this working? It's like it's not working because you guys aren't doing the stuff that would make it work. For years, slap an S on something, we'll make some money. And then they started doing the same thing. Hey, slap a bat on it. We'll definitely make some money. No, you got to remember what it is that you're bringing to the audience. And they're not thinking on that. Okay, they're not thinking on that yet, but they will. Just give them eventually gets tiresome banging your head against the wall.
All right, so that's one way to look at it. But here, I'll tell you another way to work it and how the business works. All right, here it is. The Rock is going to do his movie. He's going to do Sensation, right? He's going to do a second movie with Shazam. And then the third movie, they're going to bring in Superman. Why? And Henry Cavill is...
There will not be...
I'll let you finish. Let me finish what I'm saying. I said, the third movie is going to come in. They're going to bring in Henry Cavill. You know why? Because Rock is one of the hottest talents out there. And who was his agent? His ex-wife. And who does his ex-wife rep? Henry Cavill. So they're going to be able to package that whole bad boy deal in it.
Yeah, she can still represent. She can still represent him without any of that happening. But I'm glad you brought that up because if they were playing to win, the Shazam sequel would have Captain Marvel versus Black Adam, as opposed to giving The Rock his own film. Because The Rock having his own film, that's great for him, but that's not great for your overall universe. You bring him, if you had put him in that film and let him be the villain against Shazam and then give him his own film, great. Now you're building up stuff at the end of the day. But nobody needs to go to see Shazam to see Black Adam. They can just go see Black Adam and say, I'm not really interested in Shazam. There will not be a third Shazam movie because he's not even fighting villains that are his own in that. They created them for that movie. So you're pretty much...
He's doing his own
thing. That's right. They're not thinking of the interconnectivity of these films and how these universes are supposed to work. If you want these guys to come out and watch these films, there needs to be a reason. If you put Black Adam versus Captain Marvel, which is what's supposed to happen anyway, okay, great. So you watch Black Adam fight against Captain Marvel, and then we're gonna do his own movie. Okay, great. So now we get to see the origin story. This is great. So everybody's gonna be coming out for this. No, you told everybody you don't gotta go see Shazam if you want to see Black Adam. You can just go see the Black Adam movie, and then you lose the interconnectivity of what's supposed to be happening. These two characters are supposed to be connected, and he's appearing in his own movie before ever meeting Captain Marvel. It's malpractice.
Well, he's doing his own thing, bro, and it's going to be a hit. It's The Rock. I can't imagine it not being a hit. He has one of the highest grossing films right now in the pandemic era. The Jungle.
Yeah, it's like being on a basketball team, and you're making all the points, and the team is still losing. You're scoring 100, team is losing by 100, and team losing by 11.
So the first movie is going to be establishing him. The second movie is going to be bringing in other DC heroes, particularly Shazam. And the third one, I guarantee you, will be Superman. So watch it. I'm calling it right now. What is the day right now? Today is December 2021, and I'm calling it right now. Okay?
Okay.
Peter, you hear that? You taking that bet?
He doesn't want to do a movie where he's almost the villain to the
anti-hero. That's why he chose that particular comic.
No, Superman. If you're talking about a Black Adam movie where Superman appears,
yeah,
Superman is either the hero. Like, all right, it's the same instance of any actor who's had
Superman's gonna.
He wants to be the lead. He's not going to be coming in there to be the partner or the buddy flick or turn it to 48 Hours or something like that.
And he can't be in a film with He can't be in a film with Superman because he's gonna lose.
No, they'll do what they did in the Fast and the Furious franchise when they brought him in, and he was a cop and he had to fight Toretto.
I can't believe you just said that. You just rationalized this whole thing to the Fast and the Furious franchise. These classic DC Universe characters, and you're going to rationalize them to the Fast and the Furious franchise.
This is how the movie people look at it. Right, Petey? Okay. This is how the people they're going to package it, and that's how they're going to look at it.
You already said, but you got to look at the actor, right? The actor will be like, well, why am I, the same thing as him saying, why am I walking into the end of this Shazam movie? It's like, well, we want to show this connected universe and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not doing anything. The same thing that, Leonard Nimoy and some of the other cast members of the original Enterprise said, what am I doing in Generations? What are we doing here? Do you need me in this film? You don't. I'm going to stay home.
I'm not doing it. Yeah.
But it could be a precursor to him having his.
That is not proof that he could. That was for Shazam. Him being in the equal time doing the a la, Hobbs and Shaw, waste of time. Whereas
don't knock the movie, okay?
That was terrible. Splitting the time between the thing right in the middle. In every Rock movie where he stars someone, let's split the time exactly in the middle. You take one for you, one for you.
I checked the time. Rock got more time.
No, not in that thing. They had almost the exact same time. Every hit, the other one hit at the same time.
Yes, but Rock had a little bit more time. I checked it. Okay.
Right. That's the same. Like listening. Like The Rock is still a bigger star than Jason Statham, right? And at that time,
we're not going to go into that right now. Okay.
You went into it.
We're not going to go into that right now.
They still had to split time on most of the scenes. So, all right, you wanted to do this regretfully. He's moving. He's already gotten the worry about him being Superman off of his chest. He's doing other movies, right? You can't come to him. He gave you your thing for the Snyder cut. If they're not going to do it, they're just not going to do it, and they're just going to put him on the shelf. That's it.
Right. It's just this version of the corporate heads in DC. There'll be another version that's like, hey, this made a lot of money. Why don't we try this again? I bet you.
Snyderverse.
December 2021. You hear me saying it again. Mars is calling it. 2 calls right now. When it comes out, I want you guys to eat crow. Cal.
You didn't get to see the begging that Snyder had to do to get that cut off the ground. Say, look, it's not going to hurt you. It's money that you already have. The scenes you already have. I'll take a pay cut. Just have our people cut it. Just give us something. give us a couple little bit budget to finish up these scenes. I bet
Oh,
these
you're
fans
being
will
too nice.
these fans will actually love this more than the original. Even if we add one more scene, they'll say everything makes more sense when it didn't.
Okay, you know what? I think we've all
And
come to
you
agreement.
were being
We
really
all
generous
agree
right
to
there.
disagree here because
You were being
clearly-
really generous right there, PD. I'm pretty certain he groveled a little bit more. You can put a little bit. You can accent that a little bit more. Oh, come on, man. Come on. There's nothing else going on.
You're lucky I can't mute you, acting out, both of y'all. Okay. So look, hey everybody, if you like what you heard, give us a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Spinnerack
Out.
If you agree with us, share it with your friends. Okay. If your friend is over there and he's like, hey, this, that, and the other, you share this with them and let them see what the truth of the matter is. Okay, so you can put this thing to bed and you guys can be friends again. We're here to help people get
let
together.
the Snyderverse wave continue.
Oh my gosh.
Snyder
Share
wave.
with your friends.
No way.
Spinnerack out.
No way.